Wow, and you've interviewed, like I said in the intro, Tito Jackson. Like, that's one of the Jackson 5. I mean, come on.
Yeah, I interviewed him twice.
Ladies and gentlemen, coming to you from somewhere in New Zealand, it's the Dave Benson Show with your host, Dave Benson.
Oh, thank you, everyone. Welcome back. Welcome back to the Dave Benson Show, which is not in any way, shape or form sponsored by Maker's Mark. However, it could be one day if the people at Maker's Mark wanted to sponsor us. They could, because it's such a nice drink, if they wanted to. Is that good, Tom? Yeah, that'll get him. All right, thank you for pressing whatever exact combination of Christmas lights, remotes, smart speakers and elbow taps that accidentally triggered your iPad to switch on, and suddenly my face is just here, staring at you, unexpectedly, but kind of festively. It's nearly Christmas, which means Mariah Carey is defrosted, the shops are louder, your bank account is quieter, and someone in your family has already sent that message that begins with, "So, what are we doing for Christmas this year?" Which once again is not a question. Admiral Akbar, what is it?
It's a trap!
That's right, it's a trap. Which brings us to the most important seasonal question of all, inspired by the absolute global classic Band-Aid. They asked the question in the 1980s and kept asking it throughout the years. Do they know it's Christmas? Well, why would they? I mean, I'm guessing they don't have advent calendars. They don't have a weird emotional limbo between Christmas and New Year, which time melts and everyone's lives have leftovers. They don't have 6 million people around the world aggressively dancing in fake snow whilst wearing novelty jumpers and taking out small loans for wrapping paper. Imagine someone flying into your town and genuinely asking, "Excuse me, do you know what time is Christmas?" You'd be like, "Well, yeah, I do. I've known since Walmart put tinsel up in September." Now, don't get me wrong. I love the spirit of the song. I love what it stands for. But the logic is wild. It's basically saying, we're festive. Are you aware of this? But with all that said, it is nearly Christmas, which means kindness goes up, patience goes down, and everyone pretends they're calm while clearly not being calm at all. All right, let's not fight it. Let's lean into this chaos and kick into this week's monologue.
Gears engaged, pressure steady, system at peak performance. Standing by, initiating monologue.
In Pittsburgh, a Facebook group decided that holiday cookie exchanges just weren't extreme enough, so they attempted to break the world record for the most cookies baked in a single day. Over 83,000 cookies. That's not baking, that's a carbohydrate apocalypse. They brought in bakers from 14 US states and wait for it, New Zealand, because apparently we'll fly across the world for a chance to contribute to a biscuit-based Guinness entry anytime. They displayed the whole sugary mountain at the fairgrounds like it was the 8th wonder of the world, then swapped 73,000 of them. Honestly, it was like the Hunger Games, but instead of teenagers fighting to the death, it was mums elbowing each other for a gingerbread. Gatlinburg's 50th annual Fantasy of Lights parade had everything. Santa music, floats, and a massive black bear that casually wandered down the street like it had RSVP'd. Families were snapping photos thinking it was part of the show. But no, this was just a local bear doing its evening laps. One guy even said he should have been the Grand Marshal, which is kind of brave talk from someone standing one paw swipe away from disaster. Later footage showed the bear rummaging through bins after the parade because, well, nothing says Christmas like trying to find leftover turkey legs. A dad and son duo smashed the world record for the festive game of Hungry Hungry Hippos, clearing the board in 5.8 seconds. 5.8. I can't do anything that fast, except panic in public. Apparently they practiced for weeks, bonding over plastic hippos, eating marbles like their lives depending on it. They beat the previous record by a whole 3 seconds, which in hippo time is basically light speed. Somewhere in the world, 4 actual hippos are saying, we'd like a rematch. In Richmond, New Zealand, a baby fur seal wandered into a craft beer bar. Customers thought it was an odd-looking dog until they realised dogs don't waddle or smell like the ocean. Staff managed to lure this tiny aquatic troublemaker into a crate using salmon from a pizza special, which, frankly, is the best customer service I've ever heard of. They released the baby fur seal on Rabbit Island, but not before it left a puddle on the floor instead of a tip. A driver in South Carolina kept hearing meowing and thought his dashboard was haunted. Why wouldn't you? Turns out a kitten was wedged under the car like it was auditioning for Mission Impossible Feline Protocol. He pulled into a fire station and firefighters rescued the suck-covered baby, naming it Flash. Flash is now safe at its shelter, presumably telling the other cats, "Oh man, you should have seen the size of that engine." If your car ever starts purring, stop driving. You may have accidentally adopted someone. In Massachusetts, 2 dolphins got stuck in a marsh at low tide because even highly intelligent sea creatures sometimes make questionable navigation choices. Rescue teams waded in, gently captured them and transported them for veterinary techs. Both were released safely back into the ocean, probably vowing never to listen to whoever said, "Shortcut through the marsh." Somewhere a dolphin GPS is saying, "In 600 feet, make a U-turn and never trust Greg again." In-N-Out Burger quietly removed orders 67, no, I won't, and 69 because too many rowdy customers kept shouting lyrics from viral Doot Doot 67. Every time the number was called, employees said the dining room turned into a flash mob every 15 minutes. They even removed 69 because, well, you know. This is the first time in history a burger chain has acted as a moral police. A deer smashed through a Christmas store window in Tennessee and wandered around inspecting ornaments like it was doing its last-minute shopping. CCTV showed it sniffing Santa figurines, garlands, and at one point getting stuck in a chair. Police joked that the deer was 3 sips too deep into the holiday spirits, which is the most polite way possible to say that the deer was absolutely off its face. Staff said it looked like the deer genuinely wanted to buy something. Rudolph's cousins are now out there boosting the economy. Volunteers in Geneva built a 79-foot-long, 6-foot-high Lego mural using 300,000 bricks. Now, if that's not a mural, that's a tripping hazard waiting for a lawsuit. It depicts cartoon characters and Swiss landmarks and may set a world record. Parents everywhere collectively screamed as they imagined stepping on just one of those tiles at 2 a.m. in the morning. And after 15 years of drama, delays and arguments, Detroit finally unveiled its 11-foot bronze RoboCop statue. Back in 2011, fans crowdfunded it after tweeting the mayor, which is why politicians never read their mentions. The statue faced legal issues and location debates, but now stands proudly ready for selfies and confused tourists. Somewhere a real police officer is like, great, a robot got a statue before I did. Let's look at the YouTube news. YouTube just expanded its new expressive captions feature to all devices. These captions don't just type out words, they use AI to convey tone, volume, and even background noise for viewers who are hearing impaired. So, if the video is whispering, the captions whisper. If there's a dramatic cymbal crash that happens, the captions practically scream it at you. Soon, your subtitles will be more emotional than the actual content. Move over Spotify Wrapped. YouTube now has its own personalized recap. It summarizes your top creators, most watched genres, watch hours, and then labels you with a viewing personality like the learner, the explorer, the person who accidentally watched 46 hours of lawn care videos. If you spent 73 hours watching cat fails, YouTube will politely tell you you're a connoisseur of animal comedy. Mine will absolutely say, bold Kiwi who watches his own show. It's true. YouTube is testing a new custom feed tool letting you tweak the algorithm like you're tuning an old radio. More cooking, less conspiracy. More sports, fewer videos telling me to invest in cybercurrency with a man called Big Larry. Less medieval knife forging, more normal hobbies. It's like handing a toddler a clipboard and saying, here, try planning your own meals. Now, after opening theme parks, recreating Willy Wonka's factory and hitting 100 billion views, Mr. Beast told fans his recent videos haven't been as good. Sir, if that isn't good enough, the rest of us are broadcasting from caves. He entered ultra grind mode, which is terrifying because his normal grind mode already gives YouTube servers panic attacks. We are one step away from, I bought the moon and gave it to a subscriber. I gave every human a Lamborghini except one. Then I helped him find a job. Mark Robber, YouTube's favourite booby-trapping science dad, has a new compilation series on Netflix, Mark Robber's Crunch Labs. It's 7 episodes of glitter bombs, crazy science builds and engineering magic. Perfect for everyone who enjoys elaborate traps, wholesome science, and watching porch pirates get absolutely humbled. YouTube Music added a tool where you can ask AI questions about your listening habits. You can ask it things like, how many hours have I spent listening to 90s punk? Who do I listen to the most when it rains? Why is my top artist still Nickelback? Please help. It's perfect for anyone who wants their questionable taste judged by a robot. YouTube now requires creators to label any political, deceptive, AI or deepfake content. Basically, if you post a CGI politician dancing the cha-cha while declaring war on salad, you need to put a label on it, which is fair enough, really. Mr. Beast Gaming released 100 YouTubers fight in the Hunger Games. Mr. Beast Gaming released 100 YouTubers fight in the Hunger Games. Now this hit 7 million views in 2 days. Finally, a tournament where influencers aren't fighting for sponsors, they're fighting for digital survival. YouTube launched the global jump ahead button that uses AI to automatically detect the most interesting moment of a video. YouTube has officially said, your intro sucks, move along. Creators hate it, viewers love it. Editors, well, they're quietly weeping. Linus Tech Tips has officially come back into full production mode after last year's controversies, and they've returned with more safety protocols than a rocket launch. They've introduced stricter product testing, new auditioning processes, documented workflows, teams whose sole job is making sure Linus doesn't accidentally destroy a $20,000 GPU again. It's incredible. They now have the same level of oversight as the people sending rockets to space, and yet Linus is still casually tossing prototype hardware like it's a set of car keys. But the fans, well, they're thrilled. Tech YouTube feels stable again, which is hilarious because LTT's entire brand is chaotic, but in 4K. This is the comeback tour of the nerd century. Let's have a look at the podcast news. Podfest announced the 2026 Hall of Fame inductees, honouring the pioneers who were podcasting back when nobody knew what a podcast was. The only microphone you could afford was taped to a broomstick, and uploading an episode took 9 hours in a sacrifice to the Wi-Fi gods. These legends built podcasting before it became the cultural giant it is today. They walked so every two blokes talking about motivation could run. Respect. New York has launched its own set of podcast awards, but here's the twist. They're not celebrating celebrity hosts. They're celebrating the craft, sound design, engineering, storytelling, editing, narrative structure. It's basically the Oscars for the people who spend 6 hours removing dog barks from audio. Finally, an awards ceremony where the nominees use phrases like multi-band compression, room tone patching. Latvia, can you send your file again? You're underwater. A massive study shows podcast listening numbers continue to explode, but advertisers still haven't fully jumped on board in many countries, which means Australia listens like crazy. Germany listens like crazy. France listens like crazy. The money? Well, that still sucks somewhere between, well, maybe next quarter. And what is a podcast? Millions of listeners unmonetized. Tom suggested launching Kangaroo Blankets Berlin edition. Tom is no longer on our strategy board. Steve Bartlett's Flight Story just dropped a 7-figure investment in Hot Smart Rich, a platform and podcasting network empowering women in career and lifestyle. 7 figures. Podcasting used to be two mates in a garage sharing one microphone and half an idea. Now it's venture capital, branding agencies, cross-platform ecosystems, and apparently investment rounds bigger than small countries' GDPs. Piers Morgan has decided to take his unique brand of interrogation and apply it to history. Imagine Piers grilling major history figures. Cleopatra, you expect us to believe that story? Napoleon, why are you so angry? Joan of Arc, did you consider a PR strategy? Julius Caesar, mate, how did you miss that many knives? It's either going to be brilliant, unhinged, or start 14 new arguments on Twitter. Vulture published the top 10 wildest moments of the year in podcasting, including Taylor Swift crashing a show, a cooking influencer admitting his viral mac and cheese wasn't hers, 2 hosts crying over a toaster, a comedian accidentally confessing something legally questionable, and a paranoid podcaster who recorded a ghost, or bad plumbing. It's basically a highlight reel of things people shouted about in their AirPods. But now we shift gears, because my guest today is that brilliant mind behind the Stephen Knight Show, the talk show that blends culture, fashion, business news, indie music, and some of the biggest names in entertainment. He's dynamic, he's engaging, and he's about to blast your festive socks straight off into the new year. Tom, you know what to do. Roll these festive titles.
I said I wanna see the Dave Benson Show, and I can't stop and never gonna let it go. I said I wanna see the Dave Benson Show, and I can't stop and never gonna let it go.
From singing in choirs in Richmond, Virginia, to penning his own songs whilst at Virginia State University, this week's guest has spent his life chasing melody. He's an R&B singer and songwriter with tracks like Forever, Addicted to Love, and Now That You're Gone under his belt, praised for their heartfelt delivery and modern edge. But he's not just a musician. For 15 seasons, he's helmed a weekly podcast and talk show that's mixed hot topics, sports, movie reviews, and indie music with celebrity guests ranging from Tito Jackson to Faith Evans. And if that wasn't enough, he's also stepped into entrepreneurship, launching his own clothing line. He's closing one chapter with the end of his show in December, and his creative story, though, is far from over. Please welcome to the show, Stephen Knight.
Thank
welcome.
you. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. Thank you for having me on your show.
Oh man, it's an absolute pleasure. Now, I live in the future, so I'm on Wednesday morning. So you must be on Tuesday night, right?
I'm on Tuesday night, yes, at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time here.
And what does Stephen Knight, apart from talking to me, do on a Tuesday night? What's your average Tuesday?
My average Tuesday, well, I get up very early, get up about 5:10 a.m. and I go to the gym. I have like a whole morning routine, but then I go to the gym and then I'll go to work, come home, and I have to take my dog, who's impatient, on a very long walk. And then I just working on something in the evening, just what I have to do to get through the week. It's always something going on. Interviews or, designing, whatever. It's always over.
Now, how did it all start for you? I'm really eager to go back to the start. So you're the third of four siblings,
Yes.
and I know you used to do mock concerts in your home as you were growing up. Was that where your flair and passion for creativity started, or how did it all kick off?
Yeah, I always loved singing, but also loved basketball. So I'm kind of tall. I'm 6'4". So I would, but my plan was to make it to the NBA and then retire and become a singer as a kid. That was my goal. But really after I finished my high school days when I really put a lot of focus into music. And so like I had my first recording session my freshman year in college, and from there I really just pursued music. And then eventually moved here to Atlanta, Georgia, where I really pursued it a lot more. So yeah, it's always something I've always loved to do. Perform, sing, create music, things like that.
Is it like you see in the movies? Like I've never been into music production or anything else, but when you start, like you're just singing in clubs or local areas, you get spotted by someone, and then all of a sudden they say, "Hey, let's make a record." Is that how it works?
Well, it depends. I mean, you definitely want to get your name out there by performing at different, showcases, open mics, things like that. But for me, once I moved to Atlanta, I immediately got signed with the independent label here in Atlanta, Georgia. And so from there, they had me in the studio, they had me in showcases. Some you had to actually audition for. And I just did that. I used to have extreme stage fright. And so by performing so much, it got me out of that, because I was thinking you look kind of foolish up there being nervous and people expect you to sing. So it kind of helped me get out of that stage fright. But yeah, but yeah.
Wow. And you've been reviewed as having serious swag on stage. What does that mean when you perform?
I just try to feel it. I think because I'm tall and people automatically look at you like, can you really sing? But just getting the audience into it. Moving around on the stage and just having a good time doing it and doing it from your heart. You know what I mean? That passion.
Do you have any moments where you get the audience to participate? Are you that kind of performer on stage where you like to either split them in half or get them singing various points?
Well, sometimes I'll have them like, just like the clapping and or repeat after me, like kind of call and response. I'll do some of that sometimes, but But yeah, you definitely, if you get the crowd engaged, then you have a good audience, you know.
And what about the songs? Like, did you write all the songs yourself? Did they come from the heart? Did they come from experiences?
Yeah, well, actually, "Now That You're Gone" was a song I wrote, um, very young, and it was a song that I held on to for a long time, and then finally, in 2022, I recorded it, and I actually did different iterations of it, but that was the one I did and released, and it was something before I even had Heartbreak, but, um, uh, but I wrote it, but then I've also, collaborated with some really, talented people as well, which I prefer to do anyway, to collaborate because you get different um, different ideas and different talent around what you're doing. And I love working with people who will not let me leave the studio sounding crazy. So they're gonna be honest with me, and we have a good time making music.
Who's your best collaboration with? Who do you have the most fun with?
One of my favorites is a guy named Phoenix Electric. He was someone who he was like a came like a little brother to me. I remember when we started working together. Actually had Thanksgiving with his family, and everything. And like even one of the songs we did, his girlfriend's like doing a chant in the background in the back. Like we became really, really close, and so that was one of my favorites. But also Regis Bell, because Regis Bell will tell you like it is, but also he'll push you. And so I like but I've worked with some really good people. Those are two that really stand out.
That's cool. And you then went into your show. Talk to me about the show because it originally started as a radio show, right?
Yeah, so I was doing an EP called Nightlife, and I was on back then it was called internet radio. It was really a podcast, but I was on a show and did the interview, and then me and the host kept in touch like on social media. And then over like a year, he would follow my social media, my interaction, and presented me with the idea of doing my own show. And initially I said no, but he was like, "Well, you'll meet a lot of different people and it will help you exposure for you." And so the irony was uh when I was like before I even moved to Atlanta, I used to interview my friends, and I would say the Stephen Knight Show, welcome to the Stephen Knight Show. And so when I was asked to do the podcast and the radio show, I was going between the Stephen Knight Show and then Nightlife, which was the title track on the EP, and the network said, "Let's do the Stephen Knight Show," which I think was a great idea. And yeah, I mean, here we are 15 seasons later, and I can't believe it's been so long. But that's how and yeah, it's been amazing. It's been an amazing journey.
Wow. And you've interviewed, like I said in the intro, Tito Jackson. Like, that's one of the Jackson Five. I mean, come on.
Yeah, I interviewed him twice. So we started as our show got bigger. We started getting PR people who would pitch their clients to us. I remember the first time Tito Jackson, I was so nervous, but he was super nice. He was super nice the first time, and he kept thanking me for interviewing him. And then during COVID, once we switched to video interviewing, he was on the show as well, and he had done this video with a whole bunch of celebrities, Kardashians, and everyone just talking about love and uplifting each other. It was a video they did during COVID, and so he was on the show to promote that. And it was so sad that he passed away, but he was just always so gracious. He's real cool. And one thing that stood out about him is that over the years, people have made jokes like saying, "I'm not Tito Jackson, I'm that Jackson." And he said that he always kind of laughed at it because people don't really know how much you really contribute to songwriting and doing the things that made the Jackson Five such a big group. But yeah, he was just a cool guy, and I honored that I had the opportunity to interview him twice. He was really nice guy.
And how do you select the guests? What was your process for that? Did you just reach out to a bunch of people and saw what came back?
Initially, yeah, we would reach out to people, and then again, PR firms would start reaching out to us. Can you interview this guest? And then we would start thinking about different discussion topics that were part of pop culture, what's going on in the world today. Like we did a discussion panel. I think one of our first big discussion panels on religion, and we talked about that. I had an atheist versus the devout Christian, and that's back when we used to be live, and so our chat was going crazy. But My mom called in and everything, but but the ones I'll tell you, the topics that really everyone's interested in is relationships. We've done different relationships about dating, the ups and downs of dating, whatever year that was. We had one on dating interracial marriages and dating, being interracial to see if the stigmas had kind of changed. But people are always fascinated. We do a question of the day on the show, and anytime it's dating related or relationship related, everyone has an opinion.
Wow, I guess everyone can relate to it so much. That's why they've been there or they're there right now and they can feel it.
Uh-huh. Yeah, and I think there's so many questions on, what to do, what not to do. I go live on TikTok now, and we always talk about relationships, and some people just don't have a clue where to start, or they're just drained and tired of dating, tired of going through it all. But I think it's still something that people deep down, a lot of people really want to meet that person.
Well, you've been, so 15 seasons, let's say that's 15 years.
Yeah.
So 15 years ago, the dating landscape was different to today, right? Because, with all of the applications and various things that people use, apps that people use to do it these days. Like, back in my day, you'd have to go to a bar or something such as, and now no one does that.
No. You talking about with the dating?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Now, I mean, but you know what thing that I've seen not only in conversations I've had, but also on the news that people are going back to that old school of meeting in person, wanting to meet in person, getting away from the dating apps. But I was told, I don't know if I was told this by an expert or I heard it somewhere, but they said if you really want to meet someone serious and you rather do it on an app, you should do one of the paid apps because people that usually pay for subscription, they're more serious about going on the date or meeting someone. And so, but yeah, I don't know how I feel about apps, but and the thing about social media now, we're all so more connected. You know what I mean? And so, some cases you really don't need a dating app; you have social media.
Yeah, it's true. So how's your show changed over those 15 years? What have you seen as significant differences since you started?
I think, initially we were only audio, and then during COVID, we went to video, which I really appreciated. And the good thing about going to video was that a lot of the celebrities were at home, so they had all the time to talk.
Yeah.
Remember doing Sean Stockton from Boys to Men, and we were supposed to go 15 minutes, and we went 29 minutes. And he had the PR person come back and say, "Tell him I really appreciate that interview." I think then we all just needed something, to get our mind out of being stuck in the home. I think that was a good turning point for us, and people wanted to see who we were and see our, reactions, our facial expressions. And I think that was something that changed. But also, I've enjoyed the opportunity to for independent artists or independent filmmakers, giving them a platform, being able to just kind of prop them up, and also they've helped us out by letting their fans know about us. So I think what's really changed is just how we've continued to try to get better and do better, and and just have more discussions, and not play it so safe, but not being too rowdy. But yeah, it's definitely been it's definitely been a lot that's happened in 15 years.
I love listening to your chats about what's going on politically. I think that keeps me entertained the most. The Bad Bunny conversation. It's yeah. I mean that must, since 2016, that must have just provided such good conversational topics for you straight up.
Yeah, I mean, our election cycle here has been interesting, to say the least, over the last 10 years. And so, one thing I've always tried to be, even with my own opinions, be respectful of others. But I also felt like that with a platform, you have the responsibility of being honest, but also giving your opinion. Some will like it, some won't, but not trying to be disrespectful. And even the way I've approached interviewing people, I remember I've interviewed different celebrities over the years, and people were mad I didn't ask them salacious questions, but I never wanted it to be like a shock jock interview. And what I always enjoyed is when someone would tell me, "Oh, no one's ever asked me that before," or be grateful that they were on the show and want to come back. Because
Yeah.
I don't want to be caught off guard, and so I always try to treat people the way I want to be treated at their home, on their show. So I've appreciated.
Have you had any bad comments, bad backlash for the political comments that you have online? Have you noticed anything like that?
In recent years, some Donald Trump supporters, MAGA, they've on YouTube, they've had some comments, but it's always usually the same thing. And the thing is, for me, when you pay attention to the source, you can't allow it to be. You know what I mean? The thing is, if you're putting out your opinion, people are gonna have a reaction. So I mean, you see it on social media all the time. Like if I comment on a post, and again, I never tried to make it personal. I never tried to shame someone. I just speak to what it is I'm talking about with facts. And some people, I mean, they will go in on you, and some won't. But you can't. Every so often they'll catch me off guard, and I have to respond. But typically, I try not to do that. I try to do that.
Well, that's a good point. Do you respond, or do you just leave them and just say, you're entitled? That's it.
And some people, and I know this, because I can be kind of petty. And some people, they want that reaction because you typically get the people that want to respond and be rude. They have no profile picture, or, sometimes even bots, and so they want you to engage and respond. So sometimes it's very hard, but I try to just ignore it.
Well, it's interesting because from my last monologue, which did go into Trump quite a bit and some of the things that have taken place, I got a lot of comments like that. But then it's hard not to take them on board as to a personal kind of infliction of what you've done. But then I remembered, and my wife reminded me, she said, remember when you started this and you said, if you get comments that are bad, that are heckles, that you'll turn them around and do them live on the show straight back at them? She's like, it's time to turn it on. So yeah, that's my out for it, I guess.
Absolutely. I agree with her. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, you can't, anytime you have a public platform, there's going to be a reaction. We want all the like I remember years ago I had submitted one of my songs. It was this they had like this anonymous listening group, and they would do their response to the song and how they felt about the song. And my thing is, if you want to put it out there, you got to hear people. There are people that love it. There are people, you know what I mean? But that's art. People it's all subjective. So, but I think you should want to hear feedback and want to hear what people think, because that's how you know at least what direction to go into and how you're impacting the culture or society.
So why are you stopping the show after 15 seasons? What's that all about?
It was interesting. Maybe about 2 or 3 years ago, I had thought about it. I thought about, we've been doing this a while. It's been great. Then I was going to interview someone. This was during the holidays when the show was over for the season. And he called me to kind of brief me on his book that he wanted to promote. And he started asking me questions about the show and how'd you get started. And I started reminiscing. I was like, I'm not ready to stop this. But I knew this year I was ready. But I think sometimes, we try to hold on to something because we don't know what's going to be next. But I think when you hold on to something that has served its purpose, you don't open the door for something else supposed to come. And so I took this past summer, to really think about, was this time? And I knew it was time to end the show. And my mom always used to tell me that you made the right decision when you have a peace with it. And I felt very peaceful with ending the show. And I think the main thing was once I told my co-host that we were ending, because at that point the cat's at the bag, and then I announced it on the show. I had to. Someone said, "Are you sure you want to end it?" I said, "Well, it's too late now." But I do feel good about it, And there's some things I'm working on for next year. So, stay tuned. Stay tuned.
Oh, wow. And you've got your clothing design as well.
Yes. I have JDK Design. JDK stands for James Donna Knight. It's my parents' name. Um, and it's all about motivational and inspirational quotes on T-shirts, and we have apparel, we have hats and hoodies. This is actually one of my shirts here, but we have some more things coming down the line that and just thinking about it was I knew it was something else I wanted to do, and then one day it just came to me. It really just came to me, the idea, because I always post inspirational quotes, and I was like, this could go into kind of merchandise or kind of apparel. And I'd start doing the research, and already had a distribution deal, and just kind of fine tuning it. And so one of the things I will be working on when the Stephen Knight Show ends is really looking at some different designs, and I have some people that I'll be working with on that. So that's something exciting that I'll continue to work into. We just in September, it was 1 year since I've launched JDK Design, so it's good to have that.
That's cool. That's really cool that you use your parents' name as the label. That's so cool.
Thank you. Yeah, I wanted to definitely do something to honor both of them. I'm grateful that I had great parents growing up.
So you're the third of 4 siblings. Did any of your other brothers or sisters want to get into music, or was that just you?
Well, actually, so my oldest brother, his sister was part of Total. There's an R&B group, Bad Boy Entertainment, and so his sister, because we're half brothers. This is my brother, but we have different mothers. His sister was in Total, and he does his music as well, and he's done, like, he's surprised how much how much response he's getting to his music now. He's feel like he's been working on it so long, and now he's getting a lot of buzz around it. I mean, he has celebrities reaching out to him. He goes to different countries to perform, and so I just saw him for a family reunion in July, and we said we're gonna work on something together soon. So, so he does music. My little brother, he's more business side. He has 2 successful businesses where one's really involved in the community, and my sister, she's a hardworking wife and mother, and so they're doing their own thing.
Now, Stephen, we do some fast fire questions on this show. Are you up for the fast fire questions?
I'm up for it.
Poof. All right. First album you ever bought?
I don't know. I've always loved music. What I used to do is I would have a cassette tape in the radio, and I'd have the radio play, and then when I heard my song, I would record it. So I used to listen to those all the time. But I can't think of the first album, but it was always my cassette tape from the radio. I would always listen to that.
I don't know if they had it in the States. Did you have the charts that were played at any point, and like people would record the whole of the charts to get the music?
Oh yeah. You would record it. And especially because they would have like the top 10 playlist, or before you went to bed, and all the songs I liked, I would.
Oh man, the kids of today are never going to know what it was like to have one of those tapes on the box.
Right. They won't know anything about that.
Guilty pleasure song.
Guilty pleasure. Ooh. I love "Rock with You" by Michael Jackson. That's a guilty pleasure.
Ooh, classic.
Yeah.
One artist you'd drop everything for to collaborate with?
Oof. Probably Chris Brown.
Nice.
Yeah, he's super talented.
Coffee or tea?
Tea. Although I started drinking coffee, but I've always been a tea person. I have like a million types of teas in my kitchen, so tea.
Stage or studio? Where do you feel most alive?
A stage. I love creating music, and I love creating the harmonies and backgrounds and the different, but there's nothing about that immediate feedback from performing live in person. So I prefer that.
What's your process? No, this is not fast fire, but like in terms of writing a song, does it just come to you and you're like, oh yeah, and then you just start humming or?
Well, I used to would write songs and I would have a melody in my head and I write songs to that. But you find it more cost effective if you already have a track that you can write to the track. So I do a combination of both. But I've had producers build tracks around what I've written, and I've also modified certain songs that I wrote to fit a track. So it's just a combination of ways that I do it. But yeah,
Hidden talent outside music and media.
I'm double jointed in my elbow.
What does that mean? That's just weird.
If you can see it, yeah. I'm double jointed.
Man.
And I can
Is that a
whistle.
party trick you pull out?
It only comes up when someone asks, what's something that's just you double jointed.
Dream holiday spot.
Oh, so I want to go to I want to go to Ghana in Africa. I want to go there. That's something I hope to go to next year, but that would be my dream. My brother went and he said it was just amazing. But anything tropical outside of Ghana, but anything tropical, I'd love to go.
What's your go-to karaoke song?
Rock With You by Michael Jackson. Rock With You. It is. It's my go-to. And people already know if it's karaoke and that song, they know I'm going to sing it. Yeah.
Is that the only one you sing? What's your backup?
I would sing also, the last time I did karaoke was probably early this year, and I did So Sick by Neo, and I did Rock With You. and then I did a song I didn't really know. One of the women that were with me, it was a song by, I think it was Beyonce and Ed Sheeran, which I didn't even know they had a song together, but we did that together.
One word that best describes you.
I would say open. I always try to be open. I try to be open to feedback, open to growth, open to different ideas, open to improving. So I try to be open. I try not to be just narrow-minded. I think that's easy to do. But real quick story, I remember when I was I was a lot younger, I happened to go to this art shop, and this woman was happened to be sitting in there. She wasn't working there. She was sitting in for a friend of hers. And I remember she told me she was 60, which I couldn't believe it. And her husband was retired military. And she told me, if you do nothing else in this world, travel the world, because it'll open your mind to things you thought you knew, your own biases. She said, make sure you see the world. And so I've always tried to be open.
Have you done much traveling?
I've traveled. I want to do a lot more, but I have traveled. Yeah, I've been to some very interesting places. So
go-to food. Now, you're a big gym person, so I'll be interested in this.
I love, and all my friends know, I love wings, chicken wings. I love chicken wings. I love, matter of fact, that's what I'm having tonight. I'm air frying chicken wings. But yeah, I love chicken wings. That'd be a go-to.
How hot are we talking?
Mine don't have to be super hot. I do like a kick to them, but they have to be extra crunchy. I don't like soft wings. They have to be extra crunchy.
Finish this sentence. In 5 years, Stephen Knight will be...
That's a good question. In 5 years, Stephen will be a better version of himself. Continue to do stuff that he loves to do, and happy.
That's all you can ask for. That's the fast fire question. Stephen, what's coming up for you? That's 5 years time, but what's down the pipe? What can people expect?
Well, so the last show, the Stephen Knight Show, will be December 8th. And so we're working on that. That's the last show for Stephen Knight Show. Continue to work on the clothing line. I plan on getting back in the studio very soon to work on some new music. And yeah, I got some surprises for next year that I'm working on my next chapter. So, stay tuned for that, for sure.
I'm looking forward to that. Now, Stephen, where would you like your details? So if people want to do your clothing line, where do you want that? And if people want to do your music, tell me. I'll put them wherever.
Well, for the clothing line is jdkdesign.shop, and that's where you can find about the clothing line. And then the best thing for I would say for music is to go on my TikTok, Stephen Knight Show 32. Because that's why I'll be putting all the announcements coming up.
Nice. And we'll put that one down below. Do you have a TikTok down, Stephen?
No. There is a video of me dancing on TikTok, but I was messing with my nieces and I kept it and people liked it. But no, I'm not a dancer.
Oh, Stephen, absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for your time today. Really appreciate it. We're going to be back right after these messages.
When I get home from a hard day at the beach, there's nothing more I like to do than sit back with Maker's Mark. One of the finest drinks you can get out there. So we're not sponsored by them in any way, shape or form. No. But we're pretending to be? No, we're clearly not pretending to be sponsored. But we want to be. Yes. Okay, I can work with that. It's good.